I pressed my palm against the cool glass of my office window, staring down at the city I once thought would swallow me whole. The skyline stretched wide, steel and glass shimmering in the late afternoon sun, but my gaze kept drifting back to the building across the street, the one with my name carved into the polished stone at its entrance. Rachel Carter, owner. Some days, even I had trouble believing it. The soft rustle of my silk blouse reminded me to breathe as I adjusted the cuff on my wrist. The gold watch wasn't about luxury. It was proof of time survived, hours clawed from nothing, and nights that nearly broke me. My phone buzzed on the mahogany desk behind me. I didn't need to check it. When certain people call, you feel it in your bones before you even read their names. My thumb hovered over the screen anyway.
Mom.
A small, ironic smile tugged at my lips. Years without hearing from her, and now, on this day of all days, she decided to reach out. My chest tightened, memories clawing their way back, but I pushed them down. I had become too good at hiding the cracks, too practiced at showing only composure. Still, a bitter truth hummed underneath. They thought I was forgotten, diminished, erased. They had taken my room once. They believed they had taken me. But they had no idea. I was 19 the night it happened. The Carter house always smelled faintly of cedar and lemon polish, but that night the air was thick, sharp, like something unspoken was about to cut through. I'd come home from my part-time shift at a diner, still smelling of coffee and fryer grease, only to find the door to my room half open. Inside, my younger sister, Emily, was tossing her clothes into the drawers I had organized since I was a kid. A poster of mine had already been torn down, the corner ripped like skin. "What are you doing?" My voice cracked, though I tried to sound firm. She didn't even flinch. "Mom said I could have it. You're barely home, Rachel. You don't need it anymore." Her words struck like ice water down my spine. That room had been my safe place, the only corner where I could breathe when the world felt too heavy. And now it was being taken without so much as a conversation. I turned to Mom, who stood in the hallway, arms crossed, her eyes tired and unyielding. "It makes more sense this way," she said flatly. "Emily's younger. She deserves a real space. You're leaving soon anyway. Don't make this difficult." My throat tightened. I wanted to scream, to argue, to beg her to see me. Instead, I stood frozen, my hands trembling as I clutched the strap of my bag. I felt like a guest in my own home, evicted not by strangers, but by blood. In that moment, Grandma's words floated back to me, like they had been waiting. She had pressed a small silver locket into my palm on my 16th birthday, whispering, "Don't let anyone decide how much space you deserve, sweetheart. You'll build your own one day." I had laughed then, thinking it was just sentiment. But now, with my life shoved into boxes and my room claimed by someone else, it was all I had left to hold on to. That night I packed. Quietly. My hands shook as I folded clothes, the locket cool against my collarbone. Emily hummed to herself in what was no longer mine, and Mom didn't look back when I walked out the door. I stepped into the chilled night air with a single duffel bag and the weight of a truth I hadn't wanted to face. If I wanted space in this world, I would have to carve it out myself. And I would. The first year away from home was the hardest. I rented a shoebox studio above a laundromat, the kind of place where the walls sweated in summer and the pipes moaned like restless ghosts at night. I worked double shifts, diner mornings, bookstore evenings, while taking online classes in business administration. Most nights, I collapsed onto the thin mattress on the floor, my feet aching, my mind spinning with doubts. I traced the outline of Grandma's locket against my collarbone, whispering, one day, as if saying it could will the universe into believing me. The break came in the unlikeliest way. At the bookstore, I'd often chat with a customer named Michael Harris, a middle-aged real estate agent who never rushed through the aisles. One night, he noticed me scribbling numbers in a battered notebook between shelving shifts. "You've got a knack for this, don't you?" he asked, peering over my shoulder. I flushed, embarrassed. "Just practicing budgets, projections. Dumb stuff." He chuckled. "That's not dumb. That's the language of people who want more." Michael became my first mentor. He taught me the basics of property management, investment, and negotiation, things no one in my family had ever cared to explain. He didn't hand me opportunities. He handed me tools, and I had to learn how to wield them. I saved every penny. For 2 years, I lived lean, instant noodles, thrift store blazers, chipped nail polish before job interviews. My friends posted about spring breaks and weekend getaways. I posted nothing at all. Silence was my shield. The first milestone came when I bought a rundown duplex on the edge of town. Everyone else saw peeling paint, broken windows, and weeds taller than children. I saw potential. Michael helped me navigate the contracts, but it was me who spent nights scrubbing floors, painting walls, and negotiating with contractors who didn't take a 21-year-old woman seriously. When I rented out the first unit and the check cleared, I sat on the floor of the empty living room and cried until dawn. It wasn't just money, it was proof. The wins grew slowly. A duplex turned into a 4-unit building. 4 turned into 10. I learned to spot undervalued spaces, to negotiate with steel in my voice, to handle setbacks without collapsing. For every victory, there were nights of self-doubt, of crying into cold takeout boxes, of wondering if Mom was right, that maybe I was barely home material. But with every closing, every key handed to a new tenant, I rebuilt myself. And through it all, I kept my success hidden. On the rare occasions my family texted, I gave vague replies. I'm doing fine. Busy with work. No details, no glimpses. Let them think I was scraping by in some corner of the city. Because one day, I wanted the truth to hit them not in pieces, but all at once. And when it did, I wanted it to echo. The message from Mom that afternoon had been short, almost casual. We're in town. Thought we'd stop by. In the past, I would have panicked, scrambled to hide the cracks in my life, to prove I was still worthy. But now I leaned back in my leather chair, let the city hum below me, and simply replied, "Come by the building. I'll meet you in the lobby." The lobby. My lobby. I arrived early, heels clicking against marble floors polished to a shine that reflected the chandeliers overhead. Gold accents gleamed along the walls, balanced by warm touches, abstract art, lush plants, the faint scent of jasmine candles drifting through the air. Every detail had been chosen by me, a reflection of who I had become. When the elevator doors opened, I saw them. Mom, Emily, and my brother Jacob, stepping out uncertainly, their eyes darting from corner to corner. They looked small here, swallowed by the elegance. Rachel. Mom's voice carried a mix of hesitation and disbelief. I smiled politely. Welcome. They followed me into the conference suite on the second floor, their footsteps muffled against the thick Persian rug. I motioned toward the sleek chairs around the long oak table. They sat stiffly, still trying to piece together what this place was. This is nice, Emily murmured, running her fingers along the armrest. She was 20 now, but her tone carried the same entitlement as the night she had unpacked in my old room. Mom's eyes narrowed. So, what exactly is this? Do you work here? I let the silence stretch, savoring the weight of the moment. My gaze swept across the room, the framed photos of each property I had acquired, the awards lining the shelves, the skyline framed perfectly through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Finally, I turned back to them. No, I said softly, my voice steady. I don't work here. I own it. The words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through the air, impossible to ignore. Jacob blinked. Wait. You own the building? Yes. I folded my hands on the table, the gold watch catching the light. Every floor, every office, every brick. Emily let out a short laugh, as if waiting for the punchline, but her smile faltered when I didn't join. You're serious, she whispered. Mom's face drained of color. Her lips parted, then closed again. For once, she had nothing to say. I leaned forward, my tone calm but firm. Do you remember when you told me I didn't need my room? That I was barely home. So it made sense to give it to Emily? That was the night I walked out with nothing but a bag and a locket. My fingers instinctively touched the chain at my throat. You thought you'd taken away my space. But what you really did was teach me to claim something bigger. Silence thickened. The ticking of the wall clock seemed to grow louder, filling the cracks of their disbelief. Jacob finally broke it. But how? How did you even? Hard work, I said simply. Late nights. Sleepless mornings. Failures you never saw, victories you couldn't imagine. I built this without your help, without your belief. And now, here we are. Emily's eyes darted toward Mom, searching for reassurance, but Mom looked away, shame flickering in her gaze. I stood, smoothing the silk blouse against my waist, letting the power of the moment settle. They were in my space now, on my terms. I walked toward the window, the city sprawling beneath us, and said the words I had carried for years. You took my room. Now I own the building. No one dared to answer. The silence in the room stretched long, heavy with everything unsaid. For years, I had craved their recognition, their approval, their love. Now I realized I didn't need it. What I needed was honesty, respect, and boundaries that had never existed in our family before. I turned back from the window and faced them. My voice was even, but there was no mistaking the authority behind it. So, here's how this is going to go. You came here today expecting the same girl you once dismissed. But I'm not her anymore. I'm not here to beg. I'm here to set the rules. Emily fidgeted with her sleeve. Rules?
What are you talking about?
I took a slow breath. Conditions. If you want to be in my life again, things must change. No more entitlement. No more dismissing me. No more pretending I don't matter. I walked closer to her. Emily, you took my room because you wanted something handed to you. That ends here. If you want a future, you're going to have to build it yourself. No shortcuts, no leaning on others. I'll help you if you prove you're willing to do the work. Her cheeks flushed, a mixture of guilt and defiance. But she didn't argue.
Not this time.
My eyes shifted to Jacob. You've coasted on charm and excuses. You're smart, but you've been wasting it. If you want my support, I expect you to commit to something real, school, a career, a dream you've been too scared to chase. I'll match your effort, but I won't carry you. He swallowed hard, looking down at his hands. For the first time, he seemed smaller than his swagger. Finally, I turned to Mom. My chest tightened, but I held her gaze. And you, Mom, you taught me strength, but you also taught me what it feels like to be invisible. If you want a place in my life now, it comes with honesty. No more favoritism. No more dismissing me when it's convenient. You'll have to look me in the eye and admit what you did, and work to be better. Her lips trembled, the mask of control she always wore beginning to crack. She opened her mouth, then closed it, eyes glistening with something I wasn't sure I'd ever seen in her before, regret. I softened my voice, but not my stance. This isn't punishment. This is healing. I don't want revenge. I want growth. If you can't give me that, then this is as close as you'll ever get to me again. The weight of my words lingered in the air. None of them spoke. They just sat with it. Emily biting her lip, Jacob tapping his knee nervously, Mom blinking back tears. I stepped back, giving them space. You wanted to see me? Well, here I am. The question now is, can you rise to meet me? The clock ticked. The city roared outside. And for the first time, I felt completely in control of my story. The days after that meeting unfolded like slow dawn breaking after a storm. I didn't expect miracles. People don't change overnight, but I did notice small shifts. Emily called me the following week, her voice quieter than usual. She'd signed up for community college courses. I don't want things handed to me anymore, she admitted. It wasn't a grand gesture, but it was something. Jacob sent me a late-night text a month later. I'm thinking of applying to law school. I don't know if I'll get in, but I want to try. For him, even the act of trying was monumental. And Mom, she was the hardest. She didn't apologize all at once, not in some cinematic breakdown. But she showed up. She asked questions she'd never asked before, about my work, my struggles, my victories. Her voice would falter sometimes, as if she was afraid to find out just how much she had missed. But she tried. And for me, that was enough. One evening, after everyone had left the office, I lingered by the window, the city buzzing below like a restless heartbeat. I unclasped Grandma's silver locket and held it in my palm. The metal was warm now, shaped by years against my skin, and I traced its edges the way I had on the nights I'd felt most alone. Her words echoed in my memory. Don't let anyone decide how much space you deserve. You'll build your own one day. Tears pricked at my eyes, not from pain this time, but from gratitude, for the girl I had been, for the woman I had become, for the journey that had started with loss but ended with ownership. I breathed in deeply, letting the scent of jasmine candles and fresh paper linger around me. The walls no longer felt like barriers. They felt like wings. As the sun dipped behind the skyline, I closed the locket gently and whispered the truth I now carried without fear. They took my room, and because of that I built my world,